this is Troy with Coaster Universe, back again with Roller Coaster Tycoon World. This will be the final episode of this specific park. I may do another Roller Coaster Tycoon World Let's Play in the future, but as of right now, this will be the only one. I'm probably going to go to Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 or No Limits 2 next. I do not have Planet Coaster yet, but I am planning on getting it at some point. I don't know when that'll be because my computer's barely able to handle what I already have, so I don't know if I'll be getting Planet Coaster, but for now I'll be doing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, No Limits 2, and Roller Coaster Tycoon World. Now that this park is coming to an end, I'm going to go through, tell you all what I think of this game as a whole, and kind of explain the whole park because I haven't really said much about the entire park. So here I'm kind of building like a side path like for what I'm calling Lover's Lane. As you'll see, I'm going to kind of build up around it, just a bunch of foliage, kind of seclude it from the park, make it feel like its own little hidden area in the park. And also, it'll kind of be also a cut through, but the main purpose is just for a secluded little walk, kind of like what Disneyland has down along the rivers of America. Now, the area that this is branching off of and kind of connecting, as you've seen in previous episodes, is the central hub. Now, this central hub is kind of inspired off of Kings Island, just the way that it's centered around the Eiffel Tower, but obviously I don't have the tower there, I just have the Elephantopia area there. So that's what I kind of have as the centerpiece of the park when you walk in, just something small, then with the coasters and rides built up around it. And the thing that I feel like gets the inspiration most from Kings Island is the fact that it has that garden branching immediately off it, which is heavily inspired off of the Towers Gardens that is directly next to the Eiffel Tower at Kings Island. But as of now, they're not really used at Kings Island. I've not really noticed much interesting happening at the gardens, but with this park, I kind of made that a center location and kind of has to be used for things. Because I placed the slide in it kind of so it had a ride within it, but the ride that was added wasn't overwhelming and in your face and just made a lot of noise. Because, again, I wanted this general area of the park to be kind of quiet and whatnot. Then I added the coaster over it again because I wanted some sort of coaster central in the park that would be good family oriented, would be good for everyone of all ages, and would be able to not be too loud because I know spinning coasters aren't that loud, and it wouldn't be too big and just stick out like a complete sore thumb. I wanted it to fit in with the entire area, kind of go in and out of everything over there. Because as you'll see later, I'll work more on the theming around the main portion of this ride. It took a little bit of working with the groundwork and all that, as you'll see later on, but I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out. I wish Roller Coaster Tycoon World would come out with more ground covers, but right after I made this, they came out with a new update that kind of messed up the game. For some reason, everything's just loading way slower than it did to begin with, and it's kind of starting to become more and more unplayable. For a while there, it was actually getting quite enjoyable. I was having a lot of fun with it and just really enjoying it, but then they started becoming issues and stuff that just kind of started getting annoying, and it just loads slow, moving slow now. So as of right now, that's the reason I'm not sure if I'm going to do another Roller Coaster Tycoon World video, because for the fact right now it's a little bit unplayable because it just takes too long for anything to load, and there's so many crashing, and just everything's kind of a mess right now with the game. But I still see potential in it. I really hope they get the bugs fixed, because this game can be really good if they just fix some of the bugs in it. And again, Planet Coaster is ahead of it from videos I've seen, but I feel like if they work at it, this could become the next Planet Coaster. Now, don't quote me on that. I don't know if they'll be able to get it that far soon enough. But as of now, unless they really, really, really start working on it, I don't think it's going to catch up to Planet Coaster, and I think it's just going to end up becoming abandoned. Which is kind of a shame because, like I said, I actually do like this game. Okay, but anyway, getting back to the general theme of the park. Down over by the coaster was kind of my idea of, like, rides midway, like you generally see it, like mainly again Kings Island, Kings Dominion, where they just have the one long midway with everything down at like all the shops, all the rides all the way up and down either side of it, just really compact, feeling like a small park over there. But then I also wanted to have like an area that was more oriented to more like a Cedar Fair, Busch Gardens style park. So that's what this area, kind of more towards the side by the spinning coaster, is more like. Then you have the Barnstormer, which is obviously inspired by, or the whole general area of it I was inspired by just the standard Western rides you see at amusement parks, especially Barnstormer at Dollywood and the giant barn swing at Silver Dollar City. And then just for fun, just put my channel's initials here, CU for Coaster Universe, which you saw a couple episodes ago. Was it last episode, maybe? Anyway, but then all these flowers, I'm just trying to put as many in and make it look as realistic as possible. Try not to make it too overwhelming. As you'll see a little bit later, there were kind of like plastic trees I put by the one of the kiddie rides. I'm not too happy with how that came out. I'm probably going to redo it by the time I make the official video on the park, assuming I can get more than 3 frames per second. Because I was noticing when I was recording this, it was most of the time recording, it was 3 frames per second. Because even you notice this is sped up 4 times and it's still a little bit glitchy. So yeah, the frame rate is terrible with this game. So that's another thing that I feel like needs to be fixed. I don't know what's causing it. I don't know why it's doing it, but none of my other games do this, and I have it set on the lowest settings I can, so it's not my computer. But then, as you'll see a little bit later on, I made the wooden coaster, which is called the Rattle Coaster, just because it's a wooden coaster and you get it. But I kind of made it look like it was kind of inspired off of Grizzly Run that used to be at Jog Lake and a bit of Big Thunder Mountain, the entrance. Because I really kind of like that general look to an entrance to a roller coaster. Just the big rocks on either side and then the sign in between them. And then, again, on that midway, since it's themed like the rides and stuff, before you get to that, you'll notice I have the theater and the teacups ride, which are there just so there's a little area for families. And then on the other side of the park, which is by the spinning coaster, which is where the general area that it's at now, I made like the kiddie area, because you can see you have the carousel, the wacky worm, the little car ride. Then you have the slingshot. Now the slingshot, I placed it there, because if you notice when I went to put it in, there wasn't much room up there. And that was like the only ride that I felt like really fit in. And the other reason I put it there is so, even though it doesn't matter for the game, but I put it there so if you're walking up to the park, it is right in your face. So when you come in, you see this massive towering attraction right as you walk in. Because if you notice, there's really only 2 tall rides in the park, which is that and the Space Needle. Which, the location of the Space Needle, if you couldn't tell, is inspired off of where Carowinds put theirs directly in front of the entrance. Now here's the trees I was talking about that I didn't like. I feel like I'm probably going to end up redoing them because they kind of look sloppy, as you'll notice. I'm honestly not a huge fan. I thought I'd experiment with them. I'm probably just going to pull them out and put just regular plants in and kind of have the wacky worms set back into the woods. But anyway, then the roller coaster behind that you'll see, which is called the Looping Werewolf, is, you can guess what it's themed off of if you notice the train colors and the track colors. It's themed inspired heavily from Rougarou at Cedar Point. I don't know why. Everybody hates Rougarou, but I don't actually hate it as much as most people do, because to me it's definitely better than Mantis, which automatically makes it better in my book. So I actually do like that one at Cedar Point. I know a lot of people still don't like it, but it's just an opinion. But here's the grounding that I was talking about. That kind of took a little bit of trying to figure out exactly how I wanted it, because I've never actually worked with ground recoloring in Roller Coaster Tycoon World up until this point. And then I came over here and decided I was going to put a fence around and kind of make it look like the other side there. And again, I think this came out really well. because I feel like this looks fairly realistic for the game and looks totally plausible. Then with the rest of the park, you'll see I'm adding kind of a bunch of trees to kind of make it look more wooded and in a forest, because one thing I really like is amusement parks that are in a forest and you're kind of walking through and you just see a ride appear. Like, you're just walking, you see nothing, and then you just kind of come around a tree and bam, there's a huge coaster ride, kind of like Dollywood. That's another reason I like Dollywood that I don't think I mentioned in the last one, because it's like there's just so many things in that park. You're just kind of walking, you come around the corner, and then bam, there's Fire Chaser Express. You walk farther down, then you just... And Wild Eagle you can see from anywhere in the park, but then you go a little bit farther down, you just see Mystery Mine there. And then once you get a little bit farther down, then you see Thunderhead. But all these things are hard to see from each other because right in the middle is that big mountain. Then up on either side of it, it's like built kind of in that valley. So you can't really see either side of the park from either side of the park, so... To me, that's like one cool aspect, is the fact that that entire park is pretty much hidden from itself. So that's what I was kind of going for with this park. Then back here, again, just kind of trying to separate the wooden coaster, or the back of the wooden coaster, because that part is kind of inspired from Grizzly at King's Dominion, just trying to hide it back in the woods like Grizzly is, but still having it in plain sight. Speaking of the coasters, another issue I know everybody has with this game is the coaster builder, which isn't the best. And it does work, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they could improve it. I don't know exactly what they could do to improve what they have. I mean, there's certain things that they should do, but I'm not exactly sure how they'd fix it. And then another big issue with rides is the entrances and exits, because one thing that I know everyone liked about the other Roller Coaster Tycoon games is the fact you could move the entrances and exits around to where you need them to be, instead of having them where it's set to be. Because I don't know why, but just for that fact, I almost feel like this isn't a Roller Coaster Tycoon game, just because to me that's just such a weird thing and makes it more difficult to place the rides than any of the other RCT games. So, in my opinion, that's something that really should be fixed. And I feel like that would just make the games a lot better right there. And then another thing I ran into in another park I'm building, which you'll see in videos down the line, is when you build buildings, like the custom buildings, it for some reason highlights them purple. I don't know why, but it's like as you're moving around, it'll be like the normal texture, but then it'll flicker between the normal texture and being purple. So that's another weird thing I ran into. That's why I didn't use it in this Let's Play, is because it just, to me, doesn't work too well. And it just kind of just gets really annoying. You're just going around the park and just seeing flickering purple, and it's just glitching. I don't know if that's a setting I have wrong, or if that's actually the game. I'm assuming it's probably the game, but it could just be a setting that needs to be fixed. But that's something that really needs to be fixed because it just is just annoying. But that pretty much concludes it for my commentary. From here on out, I'm just going to turn the normal bring it back to normal speed, put the game volume back on, and this is Troy with Coaster Universe signing off. I hope you enjoyed this series. Please leave a like, comment below, and please make sure you follow on Twitter and Facebook and join the forums for free today. And please feel free to post on the forums as much as you want. Again, this is Troy with Coaster Universe signing off for the last time at this park. I wasn't lying about that frame rate. At this point, it was down to 3 frames per second, and at another point during the time-lapse portion of it, it was down to 1 frame per second. It was terrible.